It looks like it's that time. 1:30. Time to start the last Community and Economic Development Committee meeting of the year. We have a big agenda, so I thought we'd just jump in and get started. Can we have the roll call taken, please?
Roscoe,
Present.
Mahan, Perales, Esparza,
Here.
Foley.
Here.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm here.
Great, thanks, Matt. I know that Councilmember Perales will not be joining us. So let's move in. We don't have any consent items. We're not reviewing the work plan. So the first one is a report to the committee, and this is the Team San Jose and annual audit report. Joe, are you leading us off on this?
I am leading us off, and I think Caroline in my office is going to be sharing her screen. We've got a very short presentation.
Great, thank you.
So good afternoon, Joe Royce, City Auditor. As I said, I'm here with Caroline working from my office. We're here to present our audit of Team San Jose's performance for fiscal year 2020-2021. Since 2004, the San Jose McHenry Convention Center and several other city-owned facilities have been operated on the city's behalf by Team San Jose Incorporated. Additionally, since 2009, Team San Jose has operated the San Jose Convention and Visitors Bureau at the City Auditor's Office. Under the terms of the management agreements between the city and Team San Jose, is required to perform an annual performance audit to determine whether and how well Team San Jose achieved agreed upon performance targets that are the basis for an incentive payment from the city. The COVID-19 pandemic had a large impact on Team San Jose's activities. On March 16th, 2020, Santa Clara County issued a shelter-in-place order providing that individuals could only leave their residence to perform essential activities. All events at Team San Jose managed facilities were canceled for the rest of fiscal year 2019-20 and all of fiscal year 2020-2021. The management agreement allows for adjustments to the performance targets if hotel tax revenues change by 15% above or below the amount forecast in the adopted operating budget. Due to COVID-19 shutdowns, hotel tax revenues in fiscal year 2020-2021 dropped 40% below what was expected. Therefore, the performance targets were adjusted similarly downward in accordance with the agreement. As I noted a moment ago, because of restrictions related to COVID-19, Team San Jose did not have any events within its facilities for fiscal year 2020-2021. As a result, Team San Jose did not meet its adjusted targets for the following performance areas: gross operating results, estimated economic impact, theater occupancy, and customer satisfaction. In fiscal year 2020-21, Team San Jose booked nearly 83,000 hotel room nights, which was above its adjusted target. However, overall, Team San Jose's weighted incentive fee score fell below 100% because of not meeting the other targets. And based on the adjusted targets, Team San Jose did not qualify for the incentive fee of $250,000. I do want to dwell for a moment on one of the performance measures, the estimated economic impact. This is an estimation of visitor spending based on an estimated average daily spending rate multiplied by event attendance and duration. Average daily spending rates vary depending on event type and attendee type. The estimated economic impact this past fiscal year was zero because there were no events. In fiscal year 2018-19, the last full fiscal year before COVID-19, the estimated economic impact of events and their attendees was estimated to be nearly $140 million. Although this audit was about Team San Jose's performance for fiscal year 2020-21, I want to point this out as it really shows how the lack of events at the various facilities because of COVID has had broader economic implications. Our report does contain one recommendation. In fiscal year 19-20, the city paid Team San Jose $250,000 for their fiscal year 18-19 incentive fee. However, according to the management agreement, the fee that year should have been $200,000. The overpayment was caused by budgetary oversight, and we recommended that the city work to recoup that overpayment. And when I turn over to Carrie, I think there's an update on that. I ask that you accept the report and cross-reference the December 14th meeting of the full City Council. I'll now turn over to the administration for their response, and I believe representatives from Team San Jose are here as well to answer any questions.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Joseph. I want to thank you and your team. You're always a pleasure to work with, and you're very thorough. And I always find your reports incredibly insightful in terms of the data and how you present it. So I just want to thank you. And I also want to thank Caroline Worden as well, who is the lead on this with you. In response to your recommendation, the administration absolutely agrees, and thank you again for identifying that. I'm really pleased to let you know that that payment has been received already by Team San Jose. So that's always a nice thing to come to these types of meetings and let you know that that has been resolved. I also want to thank Team San Jose for their good work. I know that this has been a difficult time for your organization as you haven't been able to book events, but I just want to applaud you for doing your own pivot as well. And you've been doing a lot of great, service delivery in terms of providing meals for our homeless population. So thank you all, and I'm looking forward to coming back next year with some outstanding measures to share. Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie, and thank you, Joe, and thank you to Team San Jose. I know it has been a really difficult couple of years, but events are starting to come back, and I know that because I've run into people downtown going to Comic-Con and other events. We did have a report last month from Team San Jose that was an update, and we're going to get another update in, I think it is March of 2022. So I have a couple questions, but I'll wait first to go to the public to see if anyone has any comments over there. But I truly want to thank Team San Jose. It's been a tough couple of years with the pandemic, and I know in a business that caters to people coming into town, that when they're not coming into town, it's hard to pivot to anything else at that point. But you certainly did your part as it relates to helping our unhoused residents and deal through the pandemic. So with that, I'm going to go to see if there are any hands raised. I have one, caller user one. Please stay on topic Team San Jose. Caller user one, are you there? Caller user one, you are muted still. So I'm going to go to the next caller, Blair Beekman, and come back to you.
Hi, Blair Beekman. Thanks for the meeting today. I'll try to stay what I feel is on the topic and point. If you feel uncomfortable, just say so. I feel there can be a real connection to Team San Jose work and downtown, the use of downtown parking and downtown parking statistics. And those statistics are going to be really important this fall for the future of AI practices within San Jose.
But,
and
Blair, we're actually dealing with Team San Jose and the audit report. This doesn't have anything to do with parking. Can you stay on topic, please?
But if I can make my point, I feel that downtown parking issues has everything to do with Team San Jose issues. And I wanted to ask about an all-encompassing idea to talk about data collection and AI issues with downtown parking, and it can be a positive experience the whole community can share and be a part of. That's my point, is that I feel that's a fair point to make at this time of public comment, and what Team San Jose in its audit report can be considering and working towards, and towards the idea of what can be a whole community process, different parts of our local government working towards a positive whole. And that's good AI practices for our future. Love, care, open democracy, civil protection ideas. We're doing some new important work with data collection, and we can all be a part of it. And that's what brings more people into San Jose in the future. These are the ideas of innovation that will bring visitors, and boy, it's the good stuff. It's open democracy. That's our future. Thank you.
Thank you. Caller user one. You're still muted. There you go.
Economic development since 2009. I looked at the presentation. I don't see anything in downtown that looks like there's been any development at all. You got a closed down. You have a closed down hotel. Everything is boarded up. I mean, downtown San Jose, I call it Plywood City. You know, it looks like Tucker Construction owns everything because that's what's on the plywood. And I think that this town is going down the tubes. I mean, ever since they built the Death Star there, the City Hall, take a look around the radius of that City Hall and you tell me that there's economic development. I mean, what's it look like around there? I want the listeners to think about that. I mean, I was there a couple of years ago before COVID.
We're talking
day
about
after
the Team San Jose audit.
Yeah, well, those numbers, they look great, don't they? Not. Looks terrible. You guys need to start over again, maybe with a bulldozer, because the audit, well, it basically shows the proof in the pudding. There's no numbers there. I mean, it's terrible. You guys, I mean, you need to start over and just take a look around where the downtown is and everything. And there's audit what? Audit zero? That's your favorite number down there. Everything's zero for you people. Zero tolerance, zero traffic fatalities, zero everything. So whatever. It looks great. And I also want to wish everybody happy Thanksgiving before you guys think of a new way not to say it. Thanks.
Okay, turning to, there are no other hands raised, so turning to the committee, do any?
Move to accept the report and cross-reference it to the full city council.
Thank you, ma'am. Is very good, thank you. Any questions? The only question I have, and it's really a comment, is that this is to Team San Jose, is I noticed that the Harvest Festival, one of my favorite events in the city of San Jose is the Harvest Festival, something I look forward to every year. And I read recently that they moved out of the convention center because it was too expensive. Is that a permanent situation, or will we be able to get them back, you think? Anyone?
Matthew, you want to take that?
Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for the question. I believe, and I don't have the notes in front of me, but I believe that we have booked the public, a couple of extremely large public dance events. This would be the end of November. It's after Thanksgiving. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Right. We had an opportunity this year to generate a tremendous amount of jobs and revenue right after Thanksgiving with back-to-back public dance events, which are arguably one of the most popular bands in the world is playing for 2 nights. So it's an event that consumes the entire building.
Got it.
And so there wasn't an opportunity to book both of those events this year. I don't know that we would have that same opportunity next year. So we certainly didn't make a policy decision not to have them back.
Okay, great. That helps me a lot. I appreciate, I wondered where that decision was, and I'm glad you have something that will generate even more revenue. That's wonderful. That's good news. And who is this arguably famous band?
They're called Grupo Firme. And to put it in perspective, they just played Madison Square Garden over the weekend, and they sold the Staples Center out for 7 nights. So wow. It's a very, very large, popular band. And we had and they're finishing their North American tour in San Jose with these 2 concerts. So it was a unique opportunity that we grabbed, and the public dance events are very profitable, and they bring a great crowd downtown. A lot of them stay in hotels and go to dinner. So it's great spin-off business for the city as well. It's not just for the convention center.
That's wonderful. And thank you for being in a financial position to pay back the $50,000. That was a pleasant surprise today. I thought it would be taking a little bit longer than that. So that's great that now we're at parity, and going forward, it's all good. With that, let's vote.
Roscoe,
Aye.
Mahan,
Aye.
Esparza,
Yes.
Foley,
Aye.
thank you.
Great, thank you. The next item is the Real Estate Services Activities Annual Report, Division Activities Report. We do this every year. So Kevin, are you making?
I'm going
a
to start
presentation?
out, Madam Chair.
Nancy,
if I may.
by all means, please.
Thank you very, very much. Hi, Nancy Klein, Director of Economic Development and Cultural Affairs. And thank you very much. Excited to bring this item. You know, it is Thanksgiving time and things to be thankful for. The 4 team members, you don't see them often. Kevin Ice, who will talk to you in just a minute, Justina Chang, Yen Bui, and Thomas Harris are super productive people. And we primarily support the departments and help housing, parks, public works, and DOT, as well as private and other public entities accomplish their goals. And of course, we earn money, earn revenue for the city as well. And the activities that you'll see before you in just a minute were mostly achieved while COVID was going on, while COVID was raging. The team still very much put nose to grindstone, got a ton done. Important things like secure sites for Measure T, other police and fire activities that were related, and very much affordable housing sites like the emergency interim housing sites. So they've accomplished a lot, and I hope you'll share that view from the memo and the brief presentation. Kevin, over to you.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thanks, Nancy. Hi, I'm Kevin Ice, manager of the Real Estate Services Division. The written memo provided to the committee a summary of Real Estate Services fiscal year 2020-2021 highlights, 21-22 priority initiatives, including surplus sales, property acquisitions, facility leasing, and property management. I'm going to focus today on key accomplishments from the past fiscal year and priorities for our division in year 21-22. Our work in fiscal year 2021 was focused on delivering progress for our core clients, as Nancy mentioned. Some of the highlights are up here on the screen. Measure T, public safety acquisitions. We acquired a 100,000 square foot warehouse located at 300 Enzo Drive to serve as a future police academy and training facility. We paid $3 million below appraised value for that property. We closed on a property for Fire Station 32 located at 1138 Olander Court. There will be a newly constructed fire station on that property, which addresses one of the most impacted regions in the city in regards to fire response times. The new station will relieve burden on surrounding fire stations and syncs perfectly with land that we acquired previously for Fire Station 8 at the intersection of 13th and Santa Clara. The division assisted in developing affordable housing opportunities, including acquiring the Sure Stay by Best Western hotel with state Project Home Key funds, helping the housing department prepare for the next round of Home Key funding by negotiating letter of intent deals for 4 hotels. The council authorized 5 applications to Project Home Key this year, including the 4 hotels and 1 development on city-owned land located at Monterey and Branham. In addition, we worked with Habitat for Humanity and the developer of the Garden Gate Tower downtown to leverage city-owned land located at 4th and Reed as a receiver site for the historic palace and apartment building, which was in danger of being demolished. Habitat is now renovating the building to provide ownership opportunities for 4 housing units, which is a relatively rare opportunity for people to build equity in affordable housing. For new park locations, we purchased 199 Race Street, the old Pizza Hut at the intersection of Park and Race. We initiated an internal transfer of 460 Park Avenue to the Parks Department, and we managed the acquisition of 100 West Alma and 1413 Sanborn for a future neighborhood park and playground. We also put in place a long-term ground lease for development of the Havana Midfield Pocket Park, while we simultaneously continue to work on the multi-year process of purchasing the land from Caltrans. In addition to this work, we supported other client departments, such as the Department of Transportation in securing rights for transportation improvements, including the widening of Branham Lane. working with the regional wastewater facility to coordinate with the Army Corps and Valley Water to support the shoreline levee project and other initiatives on RWF plant lands, working with the police department on various lease renewals for their facilities, and supporting the real estate needs of major developments. We completed a surplus sale disposition and transfer of easements for the Coleman Highline development, and we're working on the acquisition of Park Avenue right-of-way for the City View project. Finally, we initiated a few operational improvements. The division received certification from Caltrans to perform right-of-way work on behalf of the city, which will save the city money and make us less reliant on consultants for project management that include federal or state transportation dollars. We also worked with the city attorney to update our policy for below market rate leases, which was approved by council and updated policy 7-1. Fiscal year 21-22 priorities include working to wrap up the remaining Measure T public safety acquisitions, acquiring sites for fire stations 23 and 36, and processing a land transfer with the VTA for Fire Station 8. Following through on the project home key purchases for any projects that are awarded funding by the state, acquiring 3 necessary properties for the development of Lot E, which is a parking lot behind the SAP Center that will provide necessary parking for the Sharks once Google develops the surface lots by Diridon. Acquiring land from the VTA to regionally complete and link the Five Wounds Trail. I mentioned acquiring Park Avenue right-of-way for City View. We'll be working with the Park Habitat Project to work out rights in the Park Avenue right-of-way as well, and supporting BART Phase 2 in the Environmental Services Department by selling 1590 Las Plumas to the VTA. We're working with the State Department of Housing and Community Development to clear surplus sale law and advance development of Highway 237 employment lands controlled by the regional wastewater facility. We're working towards a public solicitation process to advance development once we clear authorization to proceed with the state. We're renegotiating the Shea Homes Japantown project to ensure San Jose Tyco gets a long-term home in the project. We're currently working with the state HCD to clear surplus law restrictions to that deal. We plan to update our surplus sale council policy to ensure compliance with state surplus law, which is audit directed work that we expect to take to council in the new year. And finally, we've begun working with city stakeholders and client departments to develop a centralized real estate database. This database will be critical in streamlining the work that real estate services performs, including managing real property operations, obligations, and leases. But we're also focused on coordinating with every city department that maintains a real property database to ensure that we're syncing all critical information into one database so we can better ensure smooth operations and lift up coordination between the departments. The city currently has a fragmented real property data system, and one centralized database will ensure that property management decisions take all relevant data and departments into account. This work is audit directed for the division, and we are working with the IT department. We plan to take this to the Smart Cities in the February meeting of the Smart Cities. With that, I'll invite any questions on this presentation or the real estate services update memo. Our recommendation today is to accept staff's report. Thank you.
Very good. Kevin, thank you for that presentation. Thank you, Nancy, as well. I will turn to members of the public. Michael Sensini, caller user 1.
Well, I'm glad that we've got more fire departments, given the fact that there's or stations, I should say. Given the fact that the response time for the fire department here in San Jose is probably one of the worst in the nation, especially where I live. They show up 15 minutes later. Then I'm glad you guys had money to buy a place for a police academy. I mean, how did we do without it all these years? For a police department, nobody wants to join. They got to advertise at the movie theaters for these things. But yeah, I hope you guys can maintain this property that you buy throughout the city and do something decent and just, try to make San Jose a better place. I mean, take a look around. It's terrible, everything, And a lot of it has to do with what you guys buy. You guys bought all these venues nobody wants to go to. You have to show a vaccine passport to get in. You wonder why no one's selling out here or wants to go to these things. It's a hassle. The more you guys buy, the worse it gets. Well, I mean, take a look around City Hall, and you can see that anything that you guys touch kind of doesn't really turn out too well. Just like I say, I want everyone to just look about a half-mile radius around City Hall. It's not a place you want to be. Maybe you guys should buy it up. Maybe you could make it even worse. But yeah, just try to maintain what you have. I'm so glad you guys didn't do anything out there in Coyote Valley. What you should do with Coyote Valley is trap the coyotes that are killing everybody's pets and bring them out to where they belong, Coyote Valley. It could be a nature preserve for them to eat squirrels and everything in their natural habitat. Once again, that was the only decent thing I think I've seen you people do since I've been listening to these meetings that go on for hours and hours and hours of nothing. So thanks a lot. And hey, happy Thanksgiving and Merry Christmas.
Blair Beekman.
Hi, thank you. This item and the next item are a bit related. I guess to first speak to the memo itself on this item, there was issues of your leasing and the selling of land with telecoms, government leasing and selling of land to telecoms. And I just kind of wanted to give a thank you to yourselves as a city that you're trying to address, the future of 4 and 5G by when you do these telecom land purchases for their poles and stuff, you're going out and reaching out yourselves as city government to neighborhood associations and business associations of the area. That's a really good step. That's impressive. And you're not just putting it on the telecoms themselves to do the work of the notification process, but I hope that I can continue to ask questions about and how that can be a more open, accountable process for everyone. The more open and accountable that is our good practices. And that's a lot we can do for ourselves as a community. It's incredibly important if we do that well. A lot of people don't want to do that well, but if we do that well, that means we care and we're giving ourselves to good practices. And that's the innovation. That's what builds our community future and sustainability, everybody. So thank you for doing those steps. And with 30 seconds, I wanted to comment on the Home Key program that I think is really great. It's an awesome idea. I hope that with so much new subsidy money coming in, we will want to concentrate on the fundamentals of better housing for low-income people also, and that in 6 months' time, we're going to have to seriously address that you're going to want to start to use this large subsidy funding we're getting from state and federal government at this time. You're going to want to start to use that to real estate companies. I'll talk more about this on the next item. Thank you.
Turning to the committee, Councilmember Esparza.
Thank you. I just wanted to really thank the real estate department for it's been a wild ride this past year, and in particular for all their work in District 7. And with that, I'll move to accept the report.
Second.
Great. Anything else, Councilmember Esparza?
Nope, that's it. Thank you.
Great, thanks. Councilmember Mahan.
I just wanted to also add my thanks, Nancy, Kevin, rest of the team. Appreciate the great work you all have done, and particularly want to draw attention to how you've kept the public trust on Measure T. I was out there talking to voters about that a long time ago, and I know, people always get nervous when we want to issue bonds at scale, and I think, in this case, the city with your hard work has really fulfilled the promise of that campaign and made good on our commitments. So I just want to thank you for all the great work you've done across the board, but especially on Measure T. That's all for me, Chair.
Great, thank you. Then seeing no other hands, let's vote.
Roscoe,
Aye.
Mahan,
Aye.
Esparza,
Yes.
Foley.
Aye.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. That brings us to the next item, which is the citywide residential anti-displacement strategy status report.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair.
Hi, Reagan, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. So I'm here with the team, Kristen Clements with our policy team, and Emily Hislop, who is overseeing our rental assistance and eviction prevention help centers, and will be providing an update on the city's residential anti-displacement work plan. Thanks, Emily, for sharing your screen. You can go to the next slide. So there are 4 recommendations that council prioritized, and these are the strategies that we'll be updating you on today. Next slide. So one of our primary focuses of the department has been our COVID-19 recovery work, and that has been primarily focused on leading the emergency rental assistance program. And this work was not only prioritized as part of the department's anti-displacement work, but also prioritized again in June as part of the citywide roadmap item called housing stabilization. And up until a few weeks ago, we were operating under a hybrid rental assistance model, meaning there was both a state program and a local rental assistance program. The state program launched back in March, and since that time, they have received 10,641 complete applications for rental assistance totaling $144 million. The state has paid just over 3,700 households. And the last time we were before this committee, which was back in August, there were over 3,000 applications with the state. So you can see how much the state applications have grown. Next slide. So the local program is managed by the city, the County Office of Supportive Housing, Destination Home, and 46 grassroots partners. And it launched in May. However, it stopped taking new applications in September, and new applications are being directed to the state program. The local program is focused on extremely low-income households in areas heavily impacted by COVID. And right now we're focused on wrapping up payments and closing out the existing applications. And we anticipate to be complete in about the next 2 weeks. And you can see here who the local program has served. Next slide. So our eviction help centers have been operating since early August. And since that time, we've served just over 1,000 households. The majority are Spanish language households. And recently we've started having housing staff at the courts 2 days a week when the unlawful detainer cases are being heard. And we're excited about this new partnership with the courts and think it's a great way to target households who are most vulnerable to eviction and displacement. Also, the county has expanded services at a vaccine clinic on Story Road to create what we're calling a services hub that now offers in-person rental assistance help, as well as isolation and quarantine assistance. Next slide. We're also working with local nonprofits to provide additional legal support. Last month, Law Foundation and Bay Legal began providing on-site legal support, referrals, and consultations at our eviction prevention help centers. And then related to legal services, AB 1487, sponsored by Assemblymember Gabriel, would have established the Homelessness Prevention Fund administered by the State Bar to support a grant-based program to provide education and legal aid services to prevent eviction and avoid housing displacement. However, the governor vetoed the bill. But in vetoing the bill, the governor indicated general support for eviction prevention services, but he wants to debate this policy change along with a budgetary appropriation or the reallocation of existing legal aid money in next year's budget cycle. And then per council direction from September 28th, we'll be back at council in December with an update on our eviction prevention help centers, along with options to expand legal services such as right to counsel. And I'm going to pass it over to Kristen, who will give an update on the last 3 priorities.
Thanks, Reagan. Good afternoon, council members and chair. Thanks for having us. A quick update on tenant preferences to help mitigate displacement. First, a reminder that last year we worked with Senator Cortese's office to co-sponsor SB 649. This bill would recognize residents who are vulnerable to displacement as a type of person worthy of special consideration. This would allow that affordable housing financing sources like tax credits and bonds could be used for affordable housing projects. But the bill got caught by the 12 bill limit and became a 2-year bill. So it'll continue to be considered in the new legislative session. And we're working with the Office of Intergovernmental Relations to meet with the author's office to get refreshed. And then we're going to be meeting with the State Department of Housing and Community Development as the primary stakeholder, who it is important to get their support for the bill as we try to move forward. Second, we're working with HCD, the state, on several different things regarding the analysis for the tenant preferences themselves. They continue to be working on finalizing a guidance memo on how to do tenant preferences and have laid out detailed analysis of preferences and how to do that. However, they haven't finalized how we should present that information to them. That's what the memo will be doing. And so we have done preliminary analysis of the preferences that we would like to do. And we're waiting so that we can finalize much of the analysis and do it in the way that they need to see it. But we've been using the tools they've ruled out for the assessment of fair housing. We think their approach will be very similar to what they're telling folks to use for AFH. Just a reminder, 3 reasons that the state needs to approve our tenant preferences. Number 1, for any deals that they have money in as a lender. We think quite a few of our deals in San Jose, that'll be true, continue to be true. Second, they are the state lead fair housing agency, and they oversee our housing element in all of our fair housing programs, and their ability to kind of peer into what we are doing is stronger than ever under state law. And third, as we said, they need to be the main stakeholder that needs to support SB 649 for us to implement with satisfaction. So the state's lobbyist is trying to get us a meeting with HCD and to discuss the memo and the implementation of the legislation. And third, in the meantime, we have been working on getting better data to implement tenant preferences so that our analysis can be better than it has been. We're collecting data from the city's rent roll submissions starting this fall. More demographic information for all tenants of existing affordable housing, so that analysis can provide a better baseline for what residents are like, and then we can analyze better what the proposed preferences could do to the selection of tenants, and then compare the two. That's really what the analysis HCD wants to see is. Finally, we've been continuing to coordinate with Doorway, the regional rental portal efforts that are underway. Both San Jose and other jurisdictions have been working on, and that'll continue, or that will develop a consistent way so that people who are looking for affordable housing can access apartments online but they're also going to be giving information about themselves, about their demographics, and whether they fall into protected classes as they apply for apartments. So that's the third piece that we need for robust analysis of disparate impact under tenant preferences. We've been working on all of these elements while we're waiting for the state. Next slide. So we came to this committee last month to give an update on the community opportunity to purchase and the elements that that program might contain. So this is a review for you. The stakeholder engagement meetings, 16 total formal meetings, 9 from the TAC, 7 from the Stakeholder Advisory Committee, 38 ad hoc stakeholder meetings with more coming. Input from over 50 organizations and over 160 different people at these meetings. So for this first phase of work, to design the draft program parameters, we wanted to have kind of regular attendance and then people who we knew were interested in discussing anti-displacement tools and giving input, and in a way that we could kind of get to a yes, and in a way that we knew, again, that this product is not going to be everybody's favorite. And we have seen that recently. Some of the people who do not enjoy the idea of this program have started to activate against this program, but we will continue to do our impartial analysis and bring you pros and cons of what we think is a good idea as we move forward. Next slide. I think you've seen this before. This is the 52, I think, different organizations involved who had come. My criteria for including it here is they had come more than once to one of our meetings on the stakeholder advisor side or regular attendance at the technical advisory committee side. We do hope the SAC becomes a regular forum to discuss not just COPA implementation ideas and specifics about regulations that can work as we work on those, supposing a council approval, but also other anti-displacement strategies. We'd like this to be an ongoing forum that lives beyond this work. Next slide. So next steps, as we heard at our committee meeting last month, there are a lot of people who have commented that they would like to be more involved and more aware of our work on COPA. And so in the 4 weeks since we talked to you last about the program, we've been working on trying to finalize a detailed program description so that we can go out to the public in the next couple of months and go through the proposals in a kind of more detailed way, which is challenging, right? Because it's not a simple program, and it also entails funding from the city, which is kind of outside the scope of this program. So it takes quite a bit of knowledge. We've been trying to make it simple yet detailed. So it's taken some time to do that. We did listen to your suggestion, Chair Foley, that we focus on January so that we can get past the holidays and get to a time where it's a little bit easier for people to participate. So we do have 2 outreach meetings scheduled for December right now, December 6th at 5 p.m. and December 13th at 3 p.m. We'll be holding broad community meetings online, and people can find more information by going to our website, sjhousing.org, and going to displacement prevention, finding the information there. We also have a forum scheduled that the CAA and the realtors are pulling together, tentatively scheduled for December 16th. So we're trying to use December to get more feedback. We have a meeting set up also with the Housing Trust to talk about financing strategies. And then we'll be holding more public meetings in January, hopefully co-hosted with some other organizations from our TAC. And so we're hoping that people who are interested in learning more can sign up on our website, either under displacement prevention, our anti-displacement homepage, or our community opportunity to purchase page that is gone up, and we'll have a link to sign up for updates there too. So the idea then, continuing here, is that we would bring it to Housing Commission in February, back to CEDC in February at the end of the month, and that would bring us, if you agree, to council in March. Next slide. So the fourth priority was working on the housing and community developments composition and increasing the equitable representation on there of commissioners. So specifically working on the lived experience seat for somebody who has experienced homelessness. Our Chief of Staff, Jen Kim, has been leading on this and working again, focusing on onboarding, ongoing support and trainings that are needed, not just for this seat, but actually for other commissioners as well. She had opened up interview opportunities for all commissioners, and the two of us had done several of those. And then she's gone out to external groups as well and met with them several times, and still basing her understanding of what's needed, looking at other municipalities for best practices. So, and thinking about adding a designated seat for the lived experience, we've been thinking hard about the commission's optimal size and the difficulty in trying to keep it to a reasonable size, to keep meetings to a reasonable time length, and thinking through whether we're going to need to go to some kind of different appointments process so that we don't have too large of a commission. And so we've been working really closely with the clerk on different ideas for that, and what the pros and cons would be for that. And the compensation for commissioners is also part of this work, and we'll be making a proposal on that shortly. Next slide. So in the next 3 months, recapping, next quarter, you'll hear that we worked on these things for COVID response, connecting residents and owners to the state rental assistance program, operating eviction help centers, and continuing to work with our nonprofits to make sure that residents are supported. For tenant preferences, we will be prepping and working on the SB 649, meeting with stakeholders. Hopefully we'll have met with the state, both on the bill and the memo for how to do preference analysis. And we're hoping that most of our tenant preference analysis will be completed in the next 3 months. For COPA, we'll be doing, of course, a lot more stakeholder meetings and public meetings, finalizing our draft program recommendations and holding public review meetings. And then within 3 months, we will have gone to commission and committee. And I guess within 4 months, hopefully council. On the commission's work, we're finalizing the plan, finalizing the what the lived experience seat proposal would be, and then bringing that to council early next year. And with that, happy to answer any questions.
Wonderful. Thank you, Kristen and Reagan, for the presentation. I'm going to turn to the public. First speaker is Paul Soto.
Yes, Paul Soto from the Horseshoe. That Getzel Gardens, that was a disaster. None of the people in that area code got into that spot. Now, we know that the gentrification is happening and it's going to be accelerating. I can't wait to the next item because I got proof of it. The proof is in that data right there. But that's the next item. This one, that has to be prioritized because it can't debate as to whether or not we're going to put it off to the state. Oh, well, the state didn't decide that we could do it. Oh, so we're hamstrung. We can't do it. No, you have a responsibility now to ensure that the residents here that have been here for generations, that like got dogged out with the they got dogged out with the redlining, they got dogged out with poor schools, they got over policed, got under policed, you know, get all of this history of San Jose, that this is a small gesture of recompense, acknowledgement, and responsibility for the profits this city acquired as a result of the maintenance of those systems. All the redlined areas profited immensely just at the notion of Google going over there. And they have jumped, just today, I read something where this dude's home jumped from $15,000 he bought it, and now it's worth $2 million in 2 generations. This is the proof that the wealth was accumulated there. It created all these social problems within the neighborhoods, and then those social problems were criminalized. So this is one small area that this city can acknowledge that, hey, you know what? We're going to tie this to the redlining because we dogged out a whole generation of people.
Blair Beekman, next caller.
Hi, Blair Beekman here. Thanks for your items on the committee agenda today. With this item, you know, I'm concerned about the future of the future planning of ELI, VLI, and mixed income housing ideas. I'll talk more about that on the next item, but just that we should be aware of their good practices, and as always, and that in the next few years we can work to plan for these things. You know, they're important, and as I tried to mention in the previous item, that we can't talk about or that we're talking about the use of state and federal funding dollars that specifically should be meant for low-income people. You're talking about it in the future as how it can be for real estate developers and the like. I think that's the real wrong way to go about the future of all this important subsidy practices that we're having at this time. We need a much more open, larger conversation about this subject matter in the next 6 months. It really, I think, needs to be considered a new direction for it. And we'll work on that issue. With 48 seconds, you know, thank you for your report on housing houseless persons being able to hopefully one day be a part of the commission process like HCDC. This is important work. The Equity Roundtable, the COVID Economic Forum, I think they're going to be working on these issues as well and what's possible. By this June, coming June, there should be a report available that should state the condition of what will be the future of our commission process, and that it can be a more shared process of commissioners making recommendations to council and city government. Good luck with this item, and thanks for sharing.
Caller user number 1.
All these not-for-profits, non-profits, 52 different groups looking into all these things for housing. It's false promises. There's no way the city is going to be able to have housing for people who are impoverished to people who have money, which I guess would be opportunity housing. And when you do build things for low income, it's like a coffin condo, like 600 square feet. It's false promise. And it always seems to, you guys always talk a lot about doing all these things after you get done talking about statue removal. I've noticed that anytime there's a statue removal, anyone who's gung-ho about it should second guess it, because that means people removal is next. You can remove a statue, you can remove people. And think about the Fallon statue. They have no place to put it. Just like they're going to have no place to put you when
we're talking about the
anti-displacement
statue,
anti-displacement
status, not the statue.
This is all part of it. You know it. Every time.
Actually, it's not. So please stay on track.
There's displacement. There's displacement of people, right? And it's going on right now because what you're doing with all this gentrification is displacement. And there's false flag issues that cover it up, right? You get people distracted by other things. It's real easy. I mean, it's the oldest trick in the book. Look over here while we're doing something else over there, right? And you clearly know you don't have the money, you don't have the skills, you don't have the resource, you don't have anything to be able to house all these people. It's not going to work. You're going to run out of money. I mean, how is the city supposed to pay for housing for every single person when a guy like Tyndall, the deputy chief?
Turning to the committee, does anyone have any, but before I begin, first I want to thank Kristen and Reagan again for the presentation. And I want to just mention COPA. We spent quite a bit of time discussing COPA last meeting. And so if we could keep our COPA discussion high level, if there is any, and know that we're going to be back here with COPA in more detail, I believe it's February. With that, Councilmember Mahan.
Sure, and I will stay high level. I was going to just ask a clarifying question on Kristen, your point about COPA. By the way, thank you for the presentation and especially all of the great work done around getting rental assistance dollars out the door locally. And also appreciate the look ahead to the next 3 months. That's helpful to see. Just the one question, Kristen, based on your comments on COPA, was just wanted to clarify. I heard you say two things that could be in a little bit of conflict, but maybe I'm interpreting them incorrectly. One was that you're working with stakeholders to get to yes, even though we know there's some concern. We're hearing concerns from some of the stakeholders, but then also planning to give council an impartial analysis of the pros and the cons. And I guess I just wanted to understand: are we at the point of trying to get to yes, or are we still evaluating, or what should we expect in the next iteration of our conversation?
Thanks, council member. And yeah, that's a good point. I actually had thought that with our trusted stakeholders that we were going to be able to get to a place that they weren't necessarily happy, but that they felt like the major risks had been mitigated and that they didn't think this was worth costly political campaigns in our jurisdiction. But I guess I was wrong about that. So perhaps that was a speaking point from a week or two ago. We think that what we're proposing is worth working on, or else we wouldn't have been pursuing it all of this time. And so I think for the majority of people that we have been talking to, I think, again, the proposal that we will end up putting out to the city council for reaction and to the public is going to be in the middle of where all of the stakeholders had expressed interests during our lengthy April to October process.
Got it. Okay, thanks for the clarification. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Chair, yeah, you bet. Chair, with that, I'll move acceptance of staff's quarterly status report.
Thank you, Councilmember Mahan. Is there a second? Is there? If not, I'll second it.
Second.
So
I'm sorry, second.
That's okay. Thank you. Let's vote.
Roscoe,
Aye.
Mahan,
Aye.
Esparza,
Yes.
Foley.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. That takes us to our last item, which is the housing crisis work plan. Who will be kicking this one off?
Chair, I believe. Oh, great. Thank you.
Rachel Vanderveen.
Rachel, okay. You got it, Rachel.
Okay, thank you. And I think Jared will be sharing this.
I think Jared's
very good. Just go ahead and start talking. So, all right, well, good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. Our team is bringing you an update on the housing crisis work plan this afternoon. I am joined today by Jared Ferguson with the Office of Economic Development, Michael Brio from Planning, Building, and Code Enforcement, and Ramses Madu with the Department of Transportation. Our presentation provides an overview of the housing crisis report memo and all of our attached reports. I just want to let you know, Jared, we can see like the presenter screen, just so you know. And we also want to just take a moment to recognize that we also issued a supplemental memo summarizing comments and concerns raised at the Housing and Community Development Commission or last week at their meeting when they reviewed the report. And I wanted you to know they voted unanimously to basically direct staff to initiate the effort to apply the mobile home park land use designation through general plan amendments to the remaining 56 mobile home parks throughout the city. And this is an item that's included in the housing crisis work plan. So this was one specific work plan item that they discussed and wanted to provide feedback and an update to the committee based on their discussion at the commission. So with that, I will just go ahead and get started with our presentation. So here, what you can see in front of you today is our chart that we have provided many times to the committee and to the city council, which provides an overview of building permits or planning approvals, building permits, and occupancy permits for both market rate and affordable housing by separate time periods. You can see how there's been progress made year by year through this chart. If you look closely, you can see that market rate building permits continue to lag in the most recent reporting period. There was only one significant multifamily development that pulled building permits in 2021, and that was a Winchester Ranch development. And then the balance of units there in our market rate building permits number is actually largely made up of ADUs. Affordable housing is actually keeping pace and has continued to make progress through the last few months. There's 5 projects equaling 481 units that started construction in 2021. And we also had one more project with 140 units start construction in October. That's not included in this report. So I personally had the opportunity to go to a couple of groundbreakings just recently. Aria, which is like downtown, is 87 units. They had an event, and also the Emmanuel Sobrato development in District 6 has over 100 units, right on the corner or right next to the City College campus. And so anyway, those are just examples of projects that have broken ground and are busy working away on constructing affordable housing. Next slide, please. This chart demonstrates our cumulative progress towards the mayor and city council's goal to develop 25,000 new homes in San Jose by 2023, and of which 10,000 were to be affordable to our low-income households. As the chart shows, we continue to struggle meeting the affordable housing goal, while the market rate goal remains in reach. Next slide, please. In August, the City Council provided direction to the Housing Catalyst team regarding the housing crisis work plan. So first, the City Council requested that our team develop a metrics-based system to evaluate both the impact and workload for each of our work plan items included in this report. The report that is being presented today includes this analysis, and Jared Ferguson will provide an overview in his part of this presentation. Second, we were asked to reach out to housing developers to understand their barriers to moving forward with pulling building permits and moving forward with construction of new housing in general. Many discussions have already taken place with both affordable and market rate housing developers, and a report will be brought forward to City Council in January 2022 to provide a full summary of what we've learned from these discussions. And then finally, staff was asked to bring back an update to the city's transportation analysis, and this update will also be included in our presentation this afternoon. I will now turn the presentation over to Jared Ferguson.
Afternoon, okay. So based on the recommendations from City Council, the Housing Catalyst team undertook an effort to document work item prioritization. We started by creating defined metrics of potential impact of individual work plan items, and also the level of effort associated with those work items. These are included, I'm including a summary here on this slide, but the complete definitions are on attachment B. So impact we've defined by the estimated number of affordable or market rate units that are expected to result, or the likelihood an item would result in preservation of affordable housing, or likelihood an item would result in time or cost savings for new development. And then we have a kind of a red, yellow, green color coding for the different levels. Level of effort is defined by the amount of staff work required to complete an item. And then we also have a variety of items where the impact is, we think that there's going to be an impact, but we need more work in order to complete that estimation. And then there are also a number of items the city is legally required to complete, and we've noted those in blue. So based on these metrics, items that are high impact and require a low effort are highest prioritized in the work plan, and items that are lower impact with a high level of effort are the lowest prioritized. And so in the next slide, so this is our prioritization that we included as attachment B. Just to kind of go over some of the highlights here, the housing element we rated as a high impact and a high level of effort given the amount of work and staff resources required to complete. It's also legally required that the city complete the housing element update. And as I mentioned, we believe that there's potential to enable creation of a significant number of affordable and market rate units based on that work. And then moving to the moderate impact category. So the reimagining of underutilized business corridors to allow for integration of housing. So this is a general plan 4-year review work item where some housing would be allowed in our business corridors. And so we think that there's a potential to create new housing units, but not as much potential as other items. So we've put it in the moderate impact item, moderate impact category. And then moving into the low impact category, staff went through the exercise and reviewed all of the items, and we're also proposing to drop several items that we think are unlikely to lead to any significant amount of new units or time or cost savings, and they're noted there with the drop after them. And these items would be formally dropped at the next time the housing crisis work plan is referred to the City Council in the spring. And then the last column, as I mentioned before, we have a number of items that are included in the work plan that we think are likely to provide a benefit, but we just don't know yet what the impact is until more work is done in those policies. And then we were also asked to do an assessment of the completed items in the work plan. And so we used using the impact definition that we created for the other items, we assigned an impact rating to all the completed items in the work plan, and along with the discussion of each, and that's an attachment C in the report. I think there were kind of two key takeaways that we wanted to mention. With a lot of the work that's done, the impact is usually not immediate, so it can take quite a bit of time sometimes to really fully assess and understand what the impacts were to a policy change. And then generally speaking, the highest impact items are also the ones that required the highest level of effort. There wasn't any easy things, really easy wins for the most part that had a really high impact. And staff plans to continue this ongoing evaluation of completed items as part of this report moving forward. And now I'm going to pass it over to Michael Brio with the Planning Department.
Thank you. Thank you, Jared. I'll continue on. So just kind of want to highlight some things that that we've completed. We've mentioned this before, but we have the San Jose Housing Site Explorer, which is a spatial tool that developers, the community staff can use to identify housing sites, and it's continuing to be evolve and improved as we learn more. And it's a tool actually we're expanding upon for our housing element. So it's got many uses. The other sort of item I want to highlight is the commercial linkage fee implementation. So, you know, we are continuing to work on implementing that. This is the linkage fee that was approved by council on September 1st of last year. And we're considering changes to the timing of payment to increase the collectability of fees and determining how to incorporate this fee system or the fee into our existing technology. So staff is currently conducting outreach on this item and drafting guidelines for implementation, and we plan to bring this back to council in early 2022. So the housing element is a large body of work, and we're continuing to work on that. The formal process to at least start the public outreach, the public engagement process for the housing element really started this past summer. We had our first community workshop on September 2nd, and we have another one coming up on December 13th. Staff has been doing pop-up events around the city. I know they were at Viva Calle, for example. We have a website. We're sending out a survey to get people's input on what the housing that they see as the housing issues and needs that we should be addressing. So outreach is going to continue through spring of 2022. Related to that, the outreach is also doing an assessment of fair housing. So that's a big part of our outreach. And by law, we need to include an assessment of fair housing. So this is work that actually Housing Department has been working on for a long time. And now both departments are working on integrating this into our housing element. I do want to highlight one significant issue that's come up recently in the housing element, and that was a bill authored by Assemblyman Chu, AB 215, which took effect on January 1st. And this bill essentially shortened the timeline for staff to complete the housing element by over 4 months. So we were planning to get the draft element done in September. Now we have to get it done in April, mid-April. So it's very unfortunate. It's sort of like someone pulls the rug out from under you as you have your timelines all set up, and it said, nope, we're going to reduce the schedule by another 4.5 months. Sorry. So that's what's happening. We have to have a public draft available in mid-April. We have to submit the draft to HCD for their review on June 1st. So what this means is we're looking at reallocating resources within the department, identifying additional resources needed to meet this timeline. It's really an all hands on deck because the housing element takes precedence really almost over everything else that we're doing right now. Just a kind of next steps that we'll be bringing the housing element and our fair housing assessment to CEDC and the NSE committees in February. Next slide. So I just want to, Jared already mentioned this, but I'll dig in a little deeper. These are some items that we're recommending that be dropped. The first one is exploring public-private parking opportunities. And the idea behind this is there are ways that other creative ways that parking could be provided for affordable housing projects to facilitate them moving forward. We actually don't think this is that necessary because of density bonus law. Affordable housing developers are often able to, or not able to, they often are asking for concessions to reduce the parking requirement. So that's really sort of the vehicle of that. When they do want parking requirements to make their projects more feasible, parking reduction requirements, they're going through that avenue, and that's working. So given that, we don't really see a need to continue on with this item. The other one is pursue changes to the general plan to allow infill properties, to allow housing on problem properties in San Jose. This is actually an item that came from the last 4-year review, was to look at, could there be if you allowed housing to occur on properties that are commercial and are nuisance properties, would that be a way to not only get housing, but also by encouraging redevelopment, get rid of the nuisance on those properties? So staff have looked into that. I think for one thing, that a lot of the properties that were seen in nuisances were massage parlors and liquor stores and things like that. And we feel that, those uses are allowed in our code. And when there are problems, that code enforcement and our policing powers are really the best avenue to address those issues. We also sort of saw that there could be an unintended consequence of rewarding bad property owners. So property owners that are not managing their properties adequately could actually make a lot of money by selling their property to a housing developer, and that was probably the wrong approach. And most importantly, we don't really see this item generating a lot of revenue, and there'd be a lot of work, I think, just not so much to develop a policy, but to sort of go through the process of implementing that policy once one was established. So there also are a number of ongoing items that we're recommending dropping. It's not that we won't do these items. We are continuing to do these items. It's just that the items in the work program we really felt should have sort of completion dates attached to them that we can check and say, we're done and let's move on. And these really don't. But again, it's not to say that we're not doing these now. We are. It's just that we didn't feel that they sort of fit within the venue of the housing crisis. But but there's still work we're going to continue to do. And with that, I'll turn it over to, I believe it's Ramses is next.
Thank you, Michael. Afternoon, Chair and Committee. Ramses Madhu, Division Manager of Planning Policy and Sustainability for DOT. I am joined by Augustin Coelho from DOT as well. We were asked to come to the committee to update you on our work on the Transportation Analysis Policy, or Council Policy 5-1. This policy update is kind of going on in its own stream that would go through T&E and would come in March. So these are some kind of early considerations that we're working through that are specifically related.
Ramses, excuse me, your audio is a little scratchy.
Oh, is that? Here, let me switch it over to my other mic. Thank you for notifying me. Are you gonna work? Come on. There we go. Is that better?
That's better.
Perfect. Thank you for telling me. Get this thing out of the way. Looks so fancy, but doesn't always work. Anyways, yeah. So we are here to update you on 5-1, and just giving you some context here that we are updating this policy and have been. It actually was when we passed the policy, we put in a review period of a few years. Dependent on when neighboring jurisdictions actually adopted their versions of this, right? SB 743 responses. So we're working on that, and we're expecting the actual policy change to happen along with the access and mobility plan and transit first policy considerations late first quarter next year. All right, so first, just giving people, get people in the right state of mind. 5-1 is consistent and following state direction through SB 743, which required us to change our CEQA metrics for transportation to vehicle miles traveled. We were one of the first cities in the state, the fourth, to do so, mainly because it already aligned, or our general plan and many of our major strategies aligned with this greatly. This really worked with the way that we already saw policy. And the way we wrote the policy, especially important in this context, is that it already does a lot of promoting of housing production, especially affordable housing, through streamlining the CEQA methodologies and processes for those kinds of projects. So currently, affordable projects within certain areas get in essence a green light through the transportation element of CEQA with very few findings. And also, yeah, and market rate also gets an easier path through CEQA if it's in infill or urban village areas. But we were asked, hey, how might we approach this policy? Next slide, please. To help streamline more of the housing crisis work plans goals. Just restating those at the top there. And we've looked at 3 different updates. The first one is just removing barriers to housing production that are already allowed through the general plan. So we're getting a few reports of housing developments that all of the other policies in the city, particularly land use policies, would allow it. And it's only this policy 5-1 that may be stalling that development. So we're kind of investigating those ones, the reports we're getting, to figure out if there actually are, if this is one, true, and then 2, if it is, what's the right way to approach that, right? Because as we know, all these policies hang together, and change in one augments other things. And so we're being very careful about how we might do that, right? You could say anything that has land use ability to go through our land use policies can always have access to some form of override or something like that in the VMT policy. Now, we were given explicit direction not to do something like that when we built the policy. So we want to, if we're going to go that direction, we want to be very careful about it. And so we're still investigating what the right way to unwind that is, or to just take a different direction there. But we know we don't want to stand in the way, particularly of infill housing. And so we're doing investigation again of all the sites in the city that this might be applied to. Now, another way that we're looking at streamlining market rate housing is right now, there's no transportation analysis under CEQA required for transit supportive projects in planned growth areas with already low VMT qualities that are near high quality transit. So we're looking at just removing that low VMT portion of that under the theory that it's the density plus transit in a planned growth area. That's exactly what we're looking for. And that should help us get to that lower VMT over time as we build that density. And so we feel comfortable in the DOT supporting a slight reduction and the stringency there, again, to allow some more market rate housing to progress faster. Next slide, please. The third update we're looking at is quite broad and applies only to affordable housing. So right now, no transportation analysis is required under CEQA for 100% restricted affordable transit supportive projects, only in planned growth areas with high quality transit. We already didn't have that low VMT qualifier there. In this case, what we're looking at is removing the planned growth areas. And so this would go from the map on the left side, which is the current area where housing is allowed, where below market rate affordable housing could be built under this streamlined process. And you can see the very large increased area that would be allowed under this, right? So in essence, affordable housing across the city would be given an easier path forward in relationship to this policy. We are also looking at what it means to be affordable under this policy. Right now, we have the 100% restricted affordable, and so we're looking at lowering it below 100%, or figuring out if there are other qualifiers around the type of affordability that might also incentivize some more housing growth there. Still working with the housing department and everybody here on this call to figure out what the right approach there is. And I'll pass it back to Jared.
That ends our
Is that-
presentation.
Very good. Thank you for that presentation. I will turn to members of the public. Paul Soto.
Yeah, Paul Soto from the Horseshoe. Councilman Perales, I had notified him back in March about that never breaking the 25% threshold from 2016 till now, and market rate housing going from 95 to 115% consistently since 2016. Those numbers, it's the people that are giving these reports are not sensitized to what those numbers mean. Look at those numbers. That is embarrassing. That is embarrassing. That is shameful, and it's dangerous. People's lives are going to suffer as a result of the inadequacies, the incompetence, and the complete willful and deliberate neglect of knowing what those numbers really actually mean. We're talking 600% more market rate housing than affordable housing. Come on, man. Now you extrapolate that over time, it's going to squeeze people. It's going to squeeze people to where they're, and it's going to be slow. And what the city's going to do is say, oh, well, no, it was the law. It was this policy. No, man, we couldn't do that because, oh man, they were, the developer didn't want to invest. No. We ain't trying to hear that. You guys have been put on notice for a year now. Those meetings, I have them. I keep them. I keep a record of all of those meetings where I've made those comments so that in a year from now or something like, none of you can come back and say, hey, I didn't know. Look at those numbers. Those numbers mean people's lives being squeezed out of here. That's what it means. You guys talk about data. You want data in order to make your decisions. You got all the data right there. And Ms. Vanderveen comes on here and doesn't even acknowledge that, doesn't even have the humility to acknowledge that, hey, you know what? This is serious and we need to do something about it.
Next caller is a phone number with the last four numbers 4963.
Martha O'Connell, Regional Manager for GSMOL. On behalf of the thousands and thousands of San Jose residents who live in our 59 mobile home parks, 12 of which are senior parks, GSMOL asks that CED and Council implement the motion of the HCDC. You have before you my two-page letter. Please look at it. That motion was that the application of the mobile home land designation be initiated for the remaining 56 mobile home parks. This action has been delayed twice since 2015. In 2020 of March, the residents packed the council chambers, spilled into the overflow room, stood in line to testify at the mic, sent emails and letters and signed petitions. We went home believing that the council stood with us and understood our need for more security and peace of mind. In some 4 months, it will be 2 years since council unanimously voted, and not one other mobile home park has received the new mobile home park designation. Staff was opposed to this, and I have been watching the housing department since 2004. And what, in my opinion, frequently when they don't like a motion that council passes or that the housing commission passes, they start this bureaucratic end run where the action is continued to be put at the end of the line. And in my opinion, this is what's going on. So please, don't let the staff employees run the city council. I did not elect these people. I elected my council rep, D9, and other reps to stand with us. So thank you very much for your consideration. We need this designation sooner rather than later.
Thank you, Martha. Blair Beekman.
Hi, thanks for the words of Paul Soto today. We have to begin to make more clear the importance of how to more openly talk about ELI, VLI, and mixed income planning ideas for housing. It takes practice and effort, but for the most part, local government is simply afraid how to make this subject matter more open, reasonable, and comfortable for ourselves. How can it start to become just as easy to talk about and mention these ideas publicly as it is privately with each other? This is a Reagan-era superstition that still won't allow local government to offer these words more easily in public. How can we break through this superstition? And remember how much I've been talking about the importance of new state and federal subsidy money that is now becoming available for housing, local needs, etc. I've also been trying to warn that in another 6 months' time, they're going to start to try to use and shift this good subsidy funding to large corporate real estate developers, and with ideas like to build a future of urban villages in San Jose and across the state. It also can be a way to say that we are practicing how to leave an era of COVID-19 to return to the ideas of a free market economy instead of one of COVID-19 government handouts. But this is simply the wrong way to talk about subsidy help, I feel, and it needs to be help for people of low income the most. We have to make it a point to talk about this openly in the next 6 months, and a reminder to practice the good basics of ELI, VLI, and homeless housing needs with much new subsidy money that is now available. Again, I think subsidy money should be focused on low-income needs, and the creative energy to work towards those goals should be our first and foremost way to be thinking in the next 6 months, and it's not towards how to pad the real estate development industry. So, boy, good luck on how you talk about these issues. I hope we can work towards open, clear dialogue. We can do it. I hope we can start to do this now. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes our public comments. I wanted to thank Jared Ferguson, Ramses Madhu, Rachel Vanderveen, and Michael Brilio for your sections of the presentation. I have a couple of questions, but I will turn to the committee to see if anyone has a committee. Councilmember Mahan, I expected your hand to be raised because you should be very excited about the data matrix that we just got in front of us. So take it away.
I am. Thanks, Chair Foley. I am. Yes. Thank you to staff for the great update, and really appreciate seeing the matrix that helps us better understand where we're allocating our resources and what the expected impact is. So that was great to see. I really appreciate that. I had a few follow-up questions on it. So let's see here if I'm just getting back to my slides. Just out of curiosity on slide 3, when we have the category for under construction, can someone just remind me what the definition is? And is it actually that ground has been broken and a structure is going up, or does that mean something else?
We define that by when a building permit is issued, because generally that's at the same time as the start of construction, but that's how we measure it. So.
Got it. And at that point, do they typically get completed, or do they sometimes sit there not worked on for many years?
Usually if they get a building permit, it means they have financing secured, and generally they complete construction. So it's usually in that first phase where they have an entitlement where they might linger for longer and not ultimately go to building permit. But generally they complete when they go to building permit. Yeah.
That's great. Okay. So those numbers are fairly solid. I mean, as much as we can expect.
Yeah. I mean, there's obviously unique circumstances, but generally speaking, they do go to completion. Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. That's good to know. Excellent. And it's good to see some pretty good numbers there. And then down to slide 5, I really like that under impact, you're adding some rough numbers, or a range at least, on the housing created, so the housing production side. And it seems to me it would be helpful for both the preservation metric and maybe the time cost. That one might be harder, but at least on preservation, if we considered adding some sort of rough range, I mean, I assume that, so I'm looking at high impact, building 100+ units, 1,000 units is not the same as preserving one affordable unit. So how do you think about the sort of range of impact for those other metrics beyond production, since that's the only one that seems to have numbers assigned?
Yeah, it's something we could think more about. I think you're right. The time and cost savings, how we would metric that, I think would be a little more challenging. On the preservation right now, as it's written, I think there is, sort of a preference for for preservation, and that if it's only, even if it's only a few units, that would be something that we would say is high impact given the need for preservation. But I think it's something we could think about with the Catalyst team, and then come back at the next update for you and see if we think maybe a number is appropriate for that. I don't know if Rachel has anything to add to that.
Yeah, this is Rachel. I would just agree. I think it's an important question, and I would think it would be helpful for our team to get back together and just think about what an appropriate metric would be for preservation. We definitely acknowledge the value, and so we just need to come up with a way to measure that.
Yep, certainly important. I'm not at all questioning that. I think it's just if we're going to categorize something as high, moderate, or low, it'd be good to know what that actually means. I mean, it wouldn't be super rational as a city to devote expensive staff resources to a policy that would save one unit. Now, that's kind of an extreme case. I don't imagine we would ever pursue a policy that's dealing with one unit or single-digit units in a city of 1.1 million people. But I appreciated that there was a range to kind of give us a sense of impact around production, and just thought that maybe should carry over to preservation. And then I know, because I also sit on smart cities, that around the time cost savings, Jared, to your point, I actually think, I know that there was some discussion in the last meeting of the reduction in number of days around a couple of steps in the permitting process, essentially, and a reduction in the time it's taking to get through the process. And so it may be the case that we could, over time, actually estimate, well, we think that this investment might reduce the time of getting a permit reviewed or getting an inspection completed by 5 days or 10 days. And that's gonna, so I think it may be possible that, it's probably a conversation to have offline, but it would be interesting to know if we can get to a point where we can kind of look at average days to complete those steps in the process, and then try to quantify how much we're trying to move those numbers. I guess that's more of a comment. And then just a couple other questions, comments here. On slide 6, I just wanted to confirm, so the 3 that have the blue dots are legally required to complete, which is totally appropriate. It makes sense that when we've got a mandate, we've just got to do it, whether it's high impact or not. But I noticed that all 3 of these were put in high impact, which implies production of over 100 units, or preservation of some meaningful number of units, or significant or meaningful reduction in time cost. Is that true, or do those actually potentially belong? I think it's fine if blue dots are in low impact if we're mandated to do it. That may just be the case sometimes. So am I accurately reading that each of those are in fact high impact in terms of production, preservation, or reducing time in the entitlement and permitting process?
Yeah, I think they kind of each maybe fit into the kind of the 3 elements of high impact. Housing element having an impact on number of units created, to kind of aligning zoning with general plan, I think on time savings, potentially cost and time savings. And then assessment of fair housing, probably more on the preservation side of the rankings. So,
okay, yeah. Cool. So you guys thought about that. I guess I just wanted to articulate that even though I'm pushing very hard for us to go for high impact, low cost projects, I totally appreciate that we're going to have these blue dots, and they may show up even in low impact, and we just have to do them anyway, because that's just the nature of the world we live in. So that's fine. I did want to suggest on this slide 6 again here that we look at coding these according to which of the 3 metrics you're using, which of these are predominantly about production, which are predominantly about preservation, which are predominantly about speeding up time or reducing cost, which can be kind of 2 sides of the same coin. It's still, as much of an improvement as this is, and I think it's awesome, it's still kind of hard to understand strategically where we're putting our chips if we don't call out if it's not a little clear around which of those metrics we're actually trying to move with these.
It's something we can take a look at. I think it's sort of balancing how to make something kind of easy to look at too, versus the amount of information to show, that sort of fine line, right? So definitely.
Yeah,
understand.
totally understand. It's just hard as we read these boxes. Okay, great, it's high impact, but is that preservation or what? What's the impact we expect? Anyway, yeah, I know it's a lot of content. Understood. Maybe there's like a little key that we can use. Anyway, okay, I wanted to shift. I again really appreciate the direction you're going in there. I think it's really helpful it's going to be really helpful for council to be able to see this matrix and sort of understand where we're making our bets and why and what we think the impact is going to be. And then the flip side of that, what are we deprioritizing and why? And then on policy 5-1, just want to touch on that for another minute, and then I'll hand it back to you, Chair. Is our implementation, so I remember Councilor Peralez putting forward this motion, which I supported and appreciate that he's looking for ways to increase housing production for affordable housing specifically. I guess I wanted to understand for context, is our policy 5.1 similar to how other cities have implemented their local sort of interpretation of VMT rules, or are we an outlier in any way?
No, we are generally in line with both the state recommendations. So we analyzed all of the state recommendations and did a little bit of tightening here and there, but mostly around commercial projects. The difference actually is where we do and don't allow overrides for housing projects, right? So we tightened up the piece around that to try to keep housing in the planned growth areas versus being able to get an override anywhere in the city. And so that is the part that we're looking at now.
Got it. And it sounded like from your presentation, we're on that override piece. I just sort of reading between the lines, it sounded like you were open to it, but had not made a decision. Can you just tell us a little bit more about what you see as the pros and cons of changing that override provision?
Yeah, absolutely. So to be fair, we're still looking at it. So we're still trying to get enough data to make a really good recommendation, and we have time, so we're okay. But the basics are one, over allowing. If the general plan allows something, which generally we should allow it, right? The transportation shouldn't be used as a wedge against other policies, right? So that's just a consistency of policy issue that we're trying to make sure we're not standing in, right? So that's kind of the basis of the approach. But there is some places where the city needs to ask itself whether it really wants to see development in those kinds of areas, and you could see some development along the sides of the hills on the east side, things like this, where there has been traditionally and historically been a real push to say, hey, only these lower density kinds of things, if anything, can be developed out there. And so the transportation policy has always been a part of that land use soup that kind of keeps us in line with that land use structure. And so we, again, and that's where it is like, all right, should we open it up to everything? And we need to carefully, Michael Brio and others from the planning department, we really need to sit down and carefully think about, all right, what is the right place and how should this policy apply or not apply to these kinds of things? And if it doesn't, are there other levers that should be put in place if those types of places that the city has traditionally said doesn't want to see development don't actually have any other breaks? What do we do? So we're trying to find all the unintended consequences before they happen.
Yep. No, I appreciate that. Makes sense. In terms of other mitigating measures, have you considered if council were to have the ability to override the policy on a case-by-case basis, are there specific fees that are applied or could be potentially increased to serve as kind of an alternative mitigation in those cases?
Yeah, so we do actually have an override mechanism in the policy already. And so that is really focused on the infill housing in urban villages, right? And so there is a whole fee structure. It has a whole basis in a nexus study, and has a cost escalator based on how much VMT is not mitigated already. So if we would open, really what we're talking about is opening that mechanism up to more places is really the question at hand.
Right. Okay, well, I appreciate the further, the additional context there. It's helpful as I kind of think through that for myself, but thank you so much. And thanks to staff for the detailed presentation across the board. Chair, if you'd like, I can offer a motion to accept the staff report.
That would be great. Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Ramses, I'm just going to continue on with the 5-11 VMT. So your presentation expressed some flexibility, or the interest in looking at flexibility at applying that policy in order to build affordable housing. What direction from us do you need to make that happen, or to further your investigation?
We don't need any. We've gotten the direction we need, and we'll be bringing that to you all shortly. Happy to engage with you or your staff to dive in deeper if you guys want to kind of understand what we're looking at. But particularly if you look at slide 12, you can really see, we're really looking at quite a lot more land in the city being opened up. Yeah, we have direction to go, and we'll be bringing you what we have. Would love any feedback or thoughts that you guys want us to focus on, or anything like that.
Okay, so I'm just going to pin you down on timing a little bit. You said quickly. What does that mean? And because we don't want any projects to stand in the way of this, do you have the resources, the staffing resources you need, and when could you realistically bring it back to council? I don't know that it needs to come back to here, but when could you bring it back to council?
Yeah, we're slated to go to T&E with the Access Mobility Plan, Transit First Policy, and this 5-1 update in March, and come back to council in April. Could we use more resources? Always, but we have a pretty incredible staff. I have to call out Augustine Criello here, who's really leading this effort and developing it. So if you have some extra resources hidden under a couch, sure, it always could help. We do feel like that. And I do want to call out Public Works, housing, planning, and OED have all played a part in helping us think through what this update looks like. So we've got quite a bit of focus on it.
Wonderful. That really helps me, gives me an idea of timing. Moving on to the mobile home zoning changes. I do have some questions and concerns about that. It has been a while since the council approved it unanimously. So what is, aside COVID happening and the pandemic happening in the last year, what can we do to elevate this on your workload to get it done?
Yeah, the main issue,
Jared. Okay, Michael, sorry.
Yeah, so the main issue of us getting the work done is we don't have the resources to do the work. So council would need us to give us those resources. We anticipate we need one full-time planner for about 18 months to do this, and we don't have a position to do this work. We also, we're going to need some amount of cash as well for outreach and things like that. It's, it's possible we can use some of the resources we already have given to us by the state to do this. So we'll look into that. But the main issue is we don't actually have the staff to do this work. So if the council wants to us to do this work, we're going to need a staff person to do it.
Okay.
So it's really just a budget. It's a budget issue and a resource issue.
Okay. But forgive me, but when we approved this, that wasn't a consideration at all. So is there a reason? And I understand you're short-staffed right now, Michael, and I understand the department is. I didn't know, actually, until you just spoke, I didn't realize this was coming from your department, and I know your workload. So is there, this was a directive, and Martha O'Connell kind of made a statement that staff puts things where it wants to do to delay them, and I don't necessarily agree with that, but sometimes it looks like that. So what can we do to move forward on a policy that the city is approved, and more importantly, puts some concern of our senior residents of mobile home parks and other tenants at mobile home parks at rest, because they're nervous that their property owners are going to be able to go out and change the zoning right away and build development. Can you offer some level of comfort that these changes have to come back to council anyway? And how can we make sure that these parks are not going to be converted underneath us before we have the chance to do anything with it? And
Yeah,
Rosalind, I
think
see you have your hand raised too. Michael, if I could jump to her, or Michael, who wants to answer it first?
I didn't know who had their hand.
Thank you, Chair Foley. Rosalind Huey, Deputy City Manager. So I think I'll answer the second part of your question first regarding mobile home parks. So the city, we currently have a mobile home park conversion policy that any owner that wants to initiate a conversion, they have to abide by that policy. So that is a really big, probably the most important protection that we have in place for our mobile home park residents. So that's first and foremost. And then secondly, in regards to staff resources to complete this work, it is substantial, as Michael suggested. And I do remember when we were at council last March, staff actually did indicate the amount of staffing resources that would be needed. And unfortunately, this conversation happened literally right before COVID. And there weren't staff resources applied to the work effort. A suggestion would be through next year's new prioritization or city roadmap process that council could consider allocating those resources to move the work forward.
Okay, that's a good point. That's something for us to watch for in the budget process and priority setting, however we're going to handle that next year. Good, thank you. I appreciate that. And finally, I have a question about the production report. So Rachel, thank you for those numbers, but you mentioned something that surprised me. I wrote a note before you said it, where are the ADUs? And then you mentioned that the ADUs are listed as market rate. Why do you have the ADUs listed as market rate and not affordable? Because I consider them naturally affordable units.
The reason is because I guess the underlying assumption that we've used for this report is that the affordable units have affordability restrictions associated with them. And so that's how we define affordable for the purposes of this report. We understand that it's very possible that some ADUs may be renting at affordable rents, but we don't necessarily know that. And we also don't have a long-term commitment for the affordability. So that is what we have done for this report.
Okay, that makes sense to me. But I'm also wondering, because you said that the large number in this market rate housing was ADUs. Is it possible in future reports to break out the ADUs from the market rate so we can see the actual production of ADUs? And you don't happen to have those numbers right now, do you, of the market rate? How many of those are ADUs?
I can get the number in a minute. We actually have a live ADU dashboard that's online. It's current. I think it's updates about every week with whatever the most recent number of permits issued is. So, and we put a link to it in the report as well. So that's where you can find that report. And then we're also trying to shift this report to a similar model where it's online. So that's why we don't have it broken out separately this time, because we're hoping to have both be on a live dashboard that are being tracked. So, and I can look up the latest number. I don't have it off the top of my head, but I can pull it up in a second.
Yeah, Jared, if you can't get it in the next few minutes, that's fine. Just if you could let us know, that would be helpful. And in future reports, we'll be able to see the ADUs. And Rachel, I appreciate the explanation about deed restrictions. And you're right, ADUs, unless they're using some funding source that requires affordable housing, then that's different. But so I that makes sense. Rosalind, you turned off your mic. Did you have something you wanted to add?
I just on the number of ADUs, I went to the dashboard, and Jared can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm looking at 480 ADUs permitted so far in 2021.
Wow,
Yep,
that's great.
That's what I just looked up too. So
Okay.
I got it at the same time.
So of the okay, so that's 2021.
So that's going to be a little bit above because that also includes October. So our numbers there are only going through the third quarter, September. So it's not a direct comparison. So we could pull out the third quarter, but
really helpful. I guess that's it. That completes my questions. I don't see any other hands raised, so let's vote.
Carrasco,
Aye.
Mahan,
Aye.
and Foley.
Aye.
Thank you.
With that, we've concluded the formal presentations and moved to open forum. Caller user number 1.
The word affordable should never be used in any city council meeting. There's nothing affordable in this town, including a sandwich. And you're trying to pass all this legislation for affordable housing. It's never going to happen. The land is too expensive. The labor's too expensive. Everything's too expensive. And then there's this fascination, some fetish really, with parking. Where are you going to park your car? Because you know what, in the end, that's all you have control over in this city is parking, right? This is where you can make money, you can control people, you can say how wide the parking space has to be, how many minutes you can be there. You guys are obsessed with parking and mass transit. And it seems to be the only thing you're able to really excel at is the parking, right? The mass transit, well, that's a disaster. But you have all this fascination with building mass transit next to low-income housing. This place is going to look like Moldova or some bad Eastern European country some days. It's going to be gray and ugly with a light rail that goes 2 miles an hour with no parking anywhere. It's really weird. I mean, anytime you guys find a new way to rezone or do anything different, all these no parking signs go up. It's really strange. You guys are obsessed with it. You're obsessed with fees. You're obsessed with these parking tickets and all these housing measures. You're obsessed with the fee. How much more money can you guys get out of people? And where does all the money go? Really, you guys are a disaster. You're not going to. This city in the next 10 years is going to be terrible because you're going to run out of money with all these things that you promise. And
Blair Beekman.
Hi, Blair Beekman here. There were some interesting things said today. I hope we can begin to better consider how the future of committee meetings can be open and offer good facts. A reminder, I am feeling mixed income ideas can offer an incredible flexibility for all sides that can make adjustments, large or small, how all income levels can live together in a local neighborhood. It is people of low income who need subsidy help the most. I hope we can work towards more creative ways to consider the future of subsidy help in a free market economy. Can we more often openly talk about ideas like reinvesting subsidy funding in the next few years with good green sustainability, renewable energy, and local procurement practices for local neighborhoods? I also wanted to remind, there's some serious protests going on in Europe at this time. I wanted to again remind the importance of mask use during the holiday times. It can really help with the COVID issues, so it won't grow proportionally here in this country that it might do. I hope we can learn to talk about the vaccination process that we're trying to practice well in this country. We have kind of a loose system here going right now, and it's respectful to all sides, I think. Good luck in how you can talk to city government people and make that process for them open and understandable if they have feelings and worries about the vaccine process, and that it just can be easier to talk about the vaccine process and all of its parts. You know my feelings about open, accountable public policy practices with technology can really help all sides have a neutral space to address these sort of issues. And with 20 seconds, good luck with the redistricting ideas and the unity maps and the community maps. I feel the unity people have really reached out and tried to be honest and decent about the process, and they're asking for unity. That's what they're working towards. Good luck how we can do those things in the next few weeks. Thanks.
Paul Soto.
Paul Soto from the Horseshoe. I'm reading an analysis of crime of poverty in 1885. Therefore, he who holds the land on which and from which another man must live is that man's master, and the man is his slave. The man who holds the land on which I must live can command me to life or to death, just as absolutely as though I were his shadow. Talk about abolishing slavery. We have not abolished slavery. We have only abolished one rude form of it, chattel slavery. There is a deeper and more insidious form, a more cursed form, yet before us to abolish. In the industrial slavery that makes a man a virtual slave while taunting him and mocking him with the name of freedom, poverty, want, they will sting as much as the lash, slavery. God knows there are horrors enough in slavery, but there are deeper horrors in our civilized society today. This man wrote this in 1885. Okay, and so there's what's going on with the city. It just needs to stop. Your language and you talking around things, the way that Rosalind uses her language to talk to you, but we're here in the room in the public, so she can't be explicit or specific. Jared said that he feared putting too much information out here. He said it himself and chuckled. How can you possibly, in a democracy, how can you possibly put too much information out there to the citizens so that we know what's going on? You revealed yourself and your intentions right there. And you think we're not listening? You think that we don't know that what you're doing means our demise? You have the wrong person. You're not conning anybody. You need to do something about that.
With that, our meeting is adjourned. I wish you all a happy Thanksgiving.